COVID, isn't it, when you decide to leave?
No, just before.
Oh, before?
Just before that, yeah. My actual notice wasn't in COVID, but I decided that I was going to go down the route of trying to be PT or work in fitness.
Right. Park
Before then.
Park that thought.
Okay.
You've decided you want to leave.
Yeah.
How do you go about doing it?
Oh, okay, so when you actually want to decide to put your notice in, you have to put a year's return of service in. So you put your notice in, then 12 months later, you actually leave the service.
Which I think is wild.
Yeah.
Because you never get a year's notice period in
any
Civvy
other job.
Street.
No, and when you're on that side of it, and when you want to leave, and then you think, I've got to wait a year now till I can actually get out, it's quite frustrating, but there's a good reason they do it, and the reason is because it's a massive change in your lifestyle, isn't it? So, huge step change, and so to get used to that and to have that kind of almost adjustment period from going from the military life into civilian life, they feel like you need that amount of time, which maybe is correct.
So you've said you want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
What then changes? Is there an attitude shift, both from you and from them? Or is it just...
Not immediately, because again, it's a year. So
Yeah.
if you fucking like sign off and be like, I'm not working
What
anymore.
that?
Yeah,
Fuck off.
yeah, I'm not working anymore. So that's obviously not going to work, is it? Because you're still getting paid to be a Marine in those 12 months. So you've got to do your job essentially. So you go into your chain of command and you'll say, I want to put my notice in, and then they'll be like, okay. They actually said to me, go and wait, like sit on it for a week and see how you feel. And then they said that again the next week, and then again the next week. So it took me about 2 weeks before I actually...
they like you to mull it over, don't they? Christ.
Well, they've got a lot of investment in you at that point, haven't they? You've been through that amount of training, which we've been through in previous episodes. They reckon it's like £100,000 a cost to take each recruit through training, in terms of like feeding them, training them, housing them, all that shit. So there's a lot of investment going in.
That's just through basic as well.
Yeah.
Once you then obviously once you're a trained rank, you obviously accrue more value.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get, deployments, which X amount of money,
build
all
experience.
This sort of stuff. And so there's a lot of investment. So they want to keep you if they can. So they kind of say, what can we do? What can we offer you that could make you want to stay? There was nothing really for me that they could have done that for. So.
Whoa, so they like bargain with you? Is it like when you threaten that you're going to leave Sky and they're like, oh, we'll give you 3 months for like half price? Do they say like,
pretty much.
We'll let you fire a better weapon or something?
Pretty much. Well, they say like, is there a draft that you can foresee in the Corps that you want to maybe try? Then they've got you again for another couple of years. Or
oh really?
Yeah.
This isn't exclusive. Top tip: if you're in the Corps and you're thinking about leaving, throw your toys out the pram.
Yeah.
And you might get what you want.
It happens. It's just negotiation. That actually happens where people are like, right, I'm unhappy in my current draft. I'm going to say I'm going to leave, and then they might offer me something. That kind of push and pull sometimes happens. Only with lads who are like, have got the gift of the gab and they want to play the game.
Yeah.
But what I should say is that the year before deciding to leave, I kind of decided I wanted to. I don't know if you remember this. I wanted to go RAF PTI, remember that kind of period? Yeah, so I applied for that. I did the entrance test twice for the psychometric test twice. I was 1 mark under on the second attempt, and they told me that I'd have to wait another 12 months to resit, so didn't feel like that was going to happen. So I was like, that was my decision maker, really.
Could we just go back to that for a second? Like, let's throw some shade on the
absolutely.
on the RAF application process, because that was bollocks. I remember that.
Total fucking bullshit.
I don't want to blow your trumpet too much, but you would have made a good RAF PTI, and because you missed out by 1 mark, they just chinned you off.
By the way, 1 mark on a spatial reasoning.
Yeah, this is the thing.
You tell me in the comments, right, how much carryover there is from spatial reasoning into physical training instructor. So, I mean, if there's anyone listening on the board of directors for the RAF psychometric test, sort your shit out, because that's bullshit. Basically, if you've done a psychometric test before, you'll know you do like a subset of different categories. Numerical reasoning, verbal reasoning, mechanical comprehension, spatial reasoning, and a memory test. The spatial reasoning and the memory test are the two you can't practice. The others you can practice. The others you can do maths tests, you can do all this shit, right? So those are the two that I got the lowest marks in, believe it or not, because I put the effort in to actually practice the others. And then, so I got a mark under what I needed. I asked them on the phone, can they take me through on risk? Because I was like, I'm confident if I get to the next stage that I'll just get through. Because the rest of it was stuff I was confident with. And then, they didn't say they wanted to do that. So the next day, I then put my notice in and sort of came to terms with the fact that I have to go and find a job as a PT on the outside. So I kind of backtrack a little bit, but that's what happened.
That's so short-sighted.
Yeah, a little bit. And what's kind of really annoying is one of my closest mate at my uni at that time was going through the same application process. We both did the test. He passed. Then he went to the 3-day assessment week or whatever. That is the physical testing, the actual business end of getting into the course. So you do your physical test, you do a couple of lectures, they kind of assess your knowledge on physical testing, that kind of stuff. He was like, when he came back from that, he was like, that was a joke. He said him and one other person out of like 20 people were the only people to pass the physical testing. And when they stood up and had to give a lecture, they had no ability to speak in front of people, obviously, which I pride myself in, and having taken sessions for years in the past, that was something I was good at. So I was hearing that, I was like, what they've done there is they've selected out someone who's potentially good at the job with a intellectual test, and selected in people who actually, when they get to the business end and get to the point where they need to perform, haven't got what it takes. So it makes no sense.
Yeah, they've invested quite heavily into an arbitrary psychometric test and completely overlooked job-specific skills.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. Well put. And what comes from that is having substandard people at the assessment day, and they're the people you can draw from to get to the test and then get to the course and then eventually get to PTI level. So they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot in the first stage.
Yeah, would it not make more sense to have the physical test before the psychometric test? Bear in mind that you are an RFPTI.
I guess so, but it's an aptitude test, isn't it? So what their argument is that they're screening for overall intelligence,
which
and
is
that's
I mean,
their argument. And their argument is that there's got to be a line somewhere, and unfortunately, I was slightly below that line. Again, looking back now, probably a blessing in disguise because of the stuff I've been able to go on and do, but I mean, in the moment, very, very annoying.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that clip.
If you want to see the full conversation, then head to the top link in the description.